Most traders don't lose money because of bad strategy. Most traders are losing money because of fear. And the scariest part is they don't even know that it's happening. So let's go ahead and talk about it. My name is Crissy.
And I'm George.
And welcome to Married to the Markets. And so fear is actually normal, guys. Okay. It's not something that you need to run away from. You need to recognize that you're fear and you need to do things about it. It's just a natural response as human beings to be afraid, especially if you're like now starting out.
Yeah. And the thing is, for most people, is like when you're trading, fear becomes the enemy when it starts to control your decisions.
Yeah.
So you have to just make sure that everything you're doing, you're going to have that little edge where it says, all right, don't do it, or you're a little bit fearful. But if you have the right setups, if you have everything in place, why not do it? Because you have your rules and everything set up to begin with.
And there's two types of fears I want you guys to understand. There's the fear of missing out, right? And then there's the fear of losing because no one wants to lose money, right? So those fears take over, but you got into this for a reason. And you have to realize that losses are going to come with this. It's just mitigating those losses. And you're going to be fearful because you never pulled the trigger on something. This is completely foreign to you. So just know that it's okay. You're not alone. We've all been there.
Yeah. That's one of the things I always talk about.
Yeah.
I said, yo, don't follow FOMO,
Yep.
right?
Fear of missing out for those who don't know.
Anytime you hear FOMO, it's always fear of missing out. They're talking about Meta is running, or you just saw Nvidia popped up,
Yeah.
and you now going chasing, and then you get clapped.
Yeah.
So it's okay if you miss out on certain things because opportunity is always going to be there.
Yeah. And then you have to realize though, those fears are gonna come in because you're gonna hesitate. You're not gonna take a trade because you're like, oh my gosh, am I right? Am I wrong? Is this the
Mhm.
right setup? I don't know what I'm doing. And you don't have no mentorship, you have no guidance, and you're just like, oh my gosh, I'm nervous, right? But it's showing up in your charts, it's showing up in your trading. And when that starts to spill over, you're gonna lose money. You're gonna miss those trades. Things are gonna happen because of the mindset that you already set yourself up for.
Yeah. So let's talk about, all right, how it shows up on the charts, right?
Yes.
Number one, you're hesitating on valid setups,
Yes.
right? You have your setup there and you're hesitating on it to take that trade. That's fear showing up on the charts.
And cutting your winners too early,
Yeah.
right? I'm the swing trader in the group. Hey guys, and my husband. But I'm looking for the bigger moves. And sometimes when you're looking for the bigger moves, you have to understand that there's going to be fluctuation within the day. I don't play on the day charts. So when they're playing on the day charts, I'm trying to stay calm and cool because I'm looking for that bigger move on that particular point. So I'm not willing to cut that early because the day is doing something else.
One of the things too is not pulling the trigger at all.
Yeah.
You're watching the trade, you're looking at it, and you see the trade, but you're not taking it. And that could be fearful as well. Over time, you're going to see that there's a lot of trades that you actually could have took, that you were profitable, that you prepared yourself for. But when the time comes to pull the trigger, you didn't.
Yeah, and revenge trading, right? After a loss, learn to sit on your hands, go for a walk, go do something else, guys, because you're only going to set yourself up for failure doing it that way.
Yeah. So now we're going to talk about what fear actually costs you because, like I said before, your trades adds up. So the ones that you missed out on, the ones that, and I
Hmm.
wouldn't say missed out because if you see the setup, you prepared for the trade, and then afterwards you didn't take that trade, it's you acting fearful of it. Now, if you have certain rules in place where you say, all right, for say for instance for us, right?
Hmm.
For me, I don't like to trade the first 5 minutes of the market because there's times where either it work for me or it work against me, but a lot of times it work against me, right? So in a sense, where the first minute or two of the market, I don't like trading.
Yeah.
I don't like trading. Even if it breaks my level, I don't like trading. So that's part of my rule. And I find that every time I break that first 5 minutes of my rule, I end up being in that trade for a longer time than I should. I either get chopped up and I have to wait till in the afternoon
Yep.
before I become profitable again, or I just get faked out on a trade because of pop up.
Yeah, and the inconsistency of the back and forth is what's really gonna kill you, what's really gonna kill your account or just your emotions, right? Because you're not being consistent, you're not following your rules. This is why I tell you guys in a previous video, have your to-do and your not to-dos right next to you so you can remember because sometimes when you get in the groove of things and everything is going, you forget to follow those actual rules. So remind yourself on a daily basis of what you should do and what you shouldn't do.
Yeah,
Yeah.
fear is gonna keep you stuck in that same level. So it comes to a point where It's like trying to be a robot without being a robot, because as much as people talk about, you have to be emotionless when you trade, that's
It's
impossible.
hard.
I know I have emotions. So at some point you're going to be emotional, but
Yeah.
you have to take yourself out of it when you're doing your trade or executing your trade, because you're trading off of a strategy, you're trading off of entry level or something that you actually prepared for. So once you see that it break the level, then you need to get in.
Yeah. So a lot of reasons why you're being fearful is because you don't have a strategy. You haven't honed in on one thing.
Yeah.
You don't know if you're going to be a day trader, if you're going to be a swing trader, if you're going to be a scalper. You don't know what you're actually doing. You're just kind of piecing things together because you're watching things online versus just honing in on one thing. My husband always says all strategies work. You just need to wait for that strategy to actually present itself.
And not having a defined risk management. These are key things that we have to look at. Now, for me, a lot of times my risk is always based on structure,
Yes.
right? So I talk about this all the time because you'll have people that say, well, my stop loss is 5%. Well, it could be 5% when you're trading futures or Forex, but when you're talking about options, there's times where you go on a trade and the spread can put you in a 5% loss
Correct.
right away. So those are things that when people say that, you have to be mindful of who you're listening to.
Mhm.
But when you're talking about structure wise, I base my trades off of structure. So if I get in on a trade, I'm looking at a certain level. If it breaks that level, then I'm getting out the trade. Because a lot of times what will happen is you don't give yourself time to actually be profitable in a trade. Now, I get it. Drawdowns look different on options because data is always going to work against you if the trade is going against you.
Mhm.
But what you have to realize is that means you need more time on your contract.
Yeah.
So if you're trading and you're trading zero DTE, just know that a pullback works against you a lot harder versus you buying a contract that's a week out or a month out. Those you won't be as profitable on, but you'll build up the courage to know that, all right, I'm still going to make profit. However way that look, when it gets to my target, I'm taking profit.
And another thing is that like I said, you're gonna lose some, right? But you haven't really processed those loss. You haven't given yourself the ability to process the loss, to know, okay, why did that happen? This is why I say journaling is so important. It is crucial when trading, is to know, okay, what happened? What went wrong? What could I have done? Was I emotional? Did I have a situation at home? Or was it really just the charts, right? Because sometimes it's emotions or things that you're going through that throws you off. And if you lose, you are so afraid to get into the next one because you haven't processed why you actually lost in the first place.
Yeah. And we get this question all the time. How much money should you start with? And one of the things is you should start with money. If people that are trading with money they can't afford to lose, they're going to trade fearful.
Correct.
So
Trade from lack.
so I always talk about that as far as when you're coming in trading, trade with money that you can afford to lose.
Hmm.
Because if you're trading and you're trading with money, your rent money, with your car payment money, those are things that you're going to be fearful of when you get in a trade. And once you get in that trade, you're going to say, man, I'm down 100. Shit, that's my rent money. So
Hmm.
those are things that you have to, when you're coming into trading, don't say, all right, I need this amount to start trading. It's all right, I have $500 that I've saved up that I can risk losing because that doesn't have nothing to do with me trading. That's money that I can afford to risk. If you have 10,000 that's sitting aside and you say, listen, you know what? I can afford to invest this, right? And you could separate yourself from the money. Just like anything else, you're separating. Any investment that you make is a risk.
Absolutely. Doesn't matter what industry
Any
it is.
the only investment that's never a risk is you investing
Investing
in
in
yourself.
yourself.
And
I
if you
agree.
find you investing in yourself as a risk, there's a problem.
There is a problem.
Yeah, there's a problem with that.
Let's talk about personal, just being transparent about. So for me, I realized that swing trading was more my vibe, right? And only
Mhm.
because when I used to day trade a lot, it was more of the ups, the downs. I just emotionally, it wasn't for me. And so went over to swing trading because it was better on my nerves. Let's just be honest. But you have to figure out the type of person that you are. And do you like swing trading? I didn't like in and out. So I went towards swing trading. And now it's not a fearful fact because I analyze, I'm looking for A1 setups. And you guys could come into the group and ask people, when I give swing trade, it's because they're A1 setups and I'm looking to take them. And I feel more at peace when I particularly trade, when I do my swing trade, I buy the time on it. It can hit in one day. It's okay. I'm okay with that, but I know that I bought the time on it. I know that my nerves are at rest, and I allow my trade to play out. So for me, that's just my transparent moment. Day trading was just a little bit too much up and down for my spirit.
Yeah. It's like that's one of the things we changed, right?
Yeah,
And it worked for us. The next thing that I feel like was a big one was taking profit,
that is
right?
yeah,
It's taking profit, and taking profit look different for everyone,
correct.
right? So for us, it's once we hit a certain percentage, we start scaling out of our
Yeah.
trade.
You're not telling you to
And
sell all your positions, but
right,
learn to scale out.
right. Just learn to scale out of your position because what you're teaching yourself is consistency.
Yes.
And what you're teaching yourself is that you were right on your trade. If the trade pulled back and then, all right, you have some runners that's left in your trade, you can either cut it at a loss or
Mhm.
wait to see what happened, but you don't want your trade. We always say, don't let a green trade go red. Right.
Absolutely.
So in a sense, it's you have the option at that point to say, all right, let me cut this trade. But if I cut this trade and it pulls back and it does go into the red, right? Even if the trade go into red, you did take profit earlier. So if you
Yeah.
close out that trade, you can in an instance break even at that point, not losing much money or losing money at all. So we find it that what we change is not only for you going towards the swing trading with your nerves, but
Yeah.
also it's like, learning to take profit because what you want in trading is to be consistent. You can't chase the chasing of big profits enough. Home runs is what get people caught up into losing and not
Very
being
true. It's all about consistency, not perfection. So it's just showing up every trade with a new mindset. Yesterday doesn't matter. Last week, last quarter, what is it for today?
yeah.
That's where I go into. When I'm getting into a trade, I am trading from a clear space. Today's trade, what can I get from today? And not all trades give you, like you said, the 100%. Sometimes you just gonna get 10%.
Yeah.
It is what it is.
Sometimes
You have to take the trade. You have to take your profit.
the crazy thing, guys, is sometimes the trade would give you 9%.
That
And then
part.
they'd be like, man, it almost hit my 10%. It's just one of those things that you have to be
Yep.
comfortable with saying, man, you know what? My rule is my rule. And a lot of times people trade from fear because they don't have certain things in place. One of them have to be rule.
Yeah.
One of them have to be strategy. One of them have to be like, yo, when this happens, then I'm doing this.
Yeah. We wanted to take a quick break and say thank you guys so much for watching this video. Did you know that 80% of the people that are watching this video are not subscribed? And you might be one of those people just as well. And if you are, do us a favor and click that subscribe button and join us on this journey. Watching this video, that means you might be interested in options trading. I'm not sure if this is for you, but I wanted to let you know that George and I have a 6-week mentorship called Married to the Market. We'll be teaching you everything about options trading and holding your hand throughout this process. If that sounds like something that you would be interested in, make sure you pause this video and check the description because we're going to be putting all the information that you need and to see if you're qualified for this. So if this is something that you want, we would love to have you guys in the Married to the Market family. So guys, let's go ahead and jump back into the video. The next thing you can do is start small. You don't have to come in and buy 20, 30 contracts. Buy what you can afford, obviously, but start small just so you can build up the emotions, you can build up the feelings because regardless if you start with even with one contract is better than no contract. And so I feel like if you could at least say, you know what, today, this week, this month, I'm going to try to get 10% on every trade, whether it be 10, 20, whatever that looks like. I'm going to be consistent in taking my money, right? And I think in the last video, I made a video and I told you guys, stop moving your stop loss. Stop saying, no, cut it. So that's being consistent as well, right? Saying, I will cut at this level
Yeah.
and I will take my profit at this level
Yeah.
and be okay with it.
Yeah. The thing is, people think like, man, what is me taking 10% off $100? It's only $10,
Yeah,
right?
correct.
We all have to go through certain things.
We
Have
all
to
do.
start small. And I can always bring up the gym because
Yeah,
we go to
do the
them,
gym.
right? So when you go into the gym, you're not going in trying to bench 300 at the first time.
No,
There's it's
increment.
you going you get what I'm saying? That shit that it's gonna drop on you,
Correct.
right?
Baby
Because
steps.
you didn't build up to that. So at first you might say, listen, you know what? Let me try the bar and let me get comfortable with pushing the bar
Hmm.
as far as bench press. Let me get comfortable with, just bench pressing the bar,
Yep.
right? and you start from there.
Yep.
And then you start adding weights. You add 25, you
Yep.
add another
Same
10,
thing with trading,
right?
guys.
It's the same exact thing because you have to build up over time to
Yep.
where now when people see you at first in the gym, some people might laugh at you, right? You look chubby, you just starting to bench press, you bench pressing light, somebody over there bench pressing a lot more than you. But at the end of the day, it's fine. You're building up the confidence to say, listen, all right, I start out and I'm instead of doing my 5,000 a trade, let me build a confidence enough to say, all right, I can trade with 500
Yep.
and take 5% off that or take 10% off that. And then you build the muscle enough to say, all right, I'm confident enough to where I can start going up. Because one thing you don't want to do, you will know when you're over leveraged. Oh,
Heart will be, you
you will
start to
know when you're
sweat, your booty
yeah,
gonna clench.
yeah, you will know. You will
Yes.
know when you're trading with more money than you should.
Yeah.
And that comes in with, all right, when you go in a trade and all of a sudden you see the money and you be like, yo, your heart start racing, you start sweating, you start biting it. You in that with too much money.
Exactly.
You will know.
So also what I want you guys to do is journal. Guys, go grab the journal. We have a 100-day
Mhm.
trading journal that we created for the community because you need to be journaling not only your emotions, but your trades and what's going on. You can't fix what you don't know.
Can't fix what you don't know.
For the people in the back, you can't fix what you don't know. So take the time to journal. Those are some of the things that you could start to implement now so you can stop being fearful. So you can pull the trigger on your first trade. So you could stop, doing the stuff that you're doing right now. You're watching this video because you want to trade or you're already trading and you're trying to become a little bit more disciplined. Welcome to Married to the Market. Guys, we have a Discord. Come on over into the Discord, introduce yourself. We're a family over here and we want to see everybody win. Okay. So you just have to change your mindset
Yeah.
when going into this.
Yeah, mindset have a lot to do with it and things that are going to change how
Yeah.
you look at things, right?
Yeah.
And one of them is moving from, you making just a decision to, all right, you're traded from fear
Hmm.
or from lack
Yeah.
to now you start traded with confidence, right?
Yeah.
When you're getting in a trade, you want to make sure that you know what you're getting into, right? Because you have your rule, you have your strategy in place. So when you're getting in that, you're not getting in from fear because one of the things you want to do is build up the confidence. So not saying, all right, you know what, I'm gonna go in this trade because I feel like it. Not saying I'm gonna go in this trade because it look right. You're going in that trade because it have the strategy is there, the
Hmm.
setup is there, your A1 setup is there, and the trade triggers, and that's why you're getting in. And by doing that over time, it will build confidence as far as you seeing that you're profitable in the trade.
We're all working to be consistent, right? That's just what it is. That's the nature of the game. But you also have to plan for it. That's why I said know what you're actually going to trade before the bell rings. Have a plan, a to do, a not to do list, right? Follow that journal. All of this is tying. I know it could sound like, well, we talk about this all the time because it's important, right? In order for us to get to the next level, it's about being consistent. That is the nature of this game. Discipline and consistent.
Because perfection is not it,
No.
but it's progress that's gonna be it.
Yeah.
You have to work on progress instead of perfection.
Yeah.
Because that's what's going to happen over time. That's what you're looking for over time. You're looking for consistency. Not every time you're going to be right. So don't work on being right all the time. Work
Yeah.
on being consistent all the time. People want to be right all the time to get 100% on a trade. But what happened if you only get 100% on a trade one of the times?
Yeah.
But every single time you're losing, you lose, you lose, and you consistently losing, your account is going to get blown
Uh,
at some point.
yeah. So with that being said, guys, we're not going to be fearful, right? I need you to comment below. I will not be fearful.
There you
We're
go.
going to move a different way throughout the rest of 2026. Like I said, we have the Discord. We have lots of resources. If you guys are into mentorship, we have mentorship. You can come on over. George and I have a small intimate group and we can invite you to go ahead, fill out that application. Otherwise, we're going to see you guys on the next podcast episode. All right.
All right, guys. Bye.
Bye.